Yo, 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 everyone. Ninja Russ here, and welcome to another, let's say, a song lyric analysis video. Last time I covered Veil a while ago, and now I'm feeling a bit ready. I'm feeling a bit ready to finally do some more lyrical analyses, if you will. And this time, it's going to be one of the greatest songs known to mankind, known to all weebs far and wide, and that's Colors. Colors by Flow, which is the opening to Code Geass. The question is really, what if there is a sort of deeper meaning behind the song? Because I'm willing to bet that there's a reason why this song has exudes so much aura. Besides the fact it sounds like a masterpiece. Stay tuned for a bit more like a meaning exploration for how this song has sort of impacted. But yeah, let's get right into the analysis right here. So after we get the iconic Jibun Wo, what does the actual first line of the song even say? Well, through the translation we have here, it says, "As if to change myself and even the world, the moment is always right here." My interpretation of this line so far is that in this state in which there's me, there's the world, and for any change to actually occur, it's just one moment, one singular thing that must occur. The first verse in the song describes gazing at myself, standing still, and my frustrations I can't hide. Meaning sort of having this a little bit of that anger, that annoyance of seeing yourself not acting, trying to actually, do the thing of, trying to change, really. But we get into the next line, which is a big one I really like. Mayoi nagara, nayami nagara, uyami nagara. So as it says here, you can make your decision through hesitation, worries, and regrets. It is straight telling the listener that even though there's all these, inner thoughts and all these past events weighing you down, you can still make a choice. You can still decide what you want to do, which is a very key thing, which I'll get into in the meaning part later. But then it gets to the big part, which is that one word you gave me, my doubt went away. My doubt disappeared, if you will. So the big line here is, looking above to the big blue open sky that's turning clear blue, I decided to open the closed window. Basically, this is actually a trend in a lot of other songs, is being able to have a perspective shift. Finally being able to see the true beauty of, the in this case it's the sky, but I would interpret it more of like the actual outside world. Finally deciding, oh, because I've seen all of this true beauty and the vastness of the sky that can is always consistently blue, consistently itself, I have decided to open the closed window. Open up my line goes, alone in the morning sun, I turn to your soft voice with the two follow-ups of, in the dazzling sun, you suddenly smile, the closed window almost opened. Which is trying to confide in that one person that gave you meaning, that gave you that, that one word that really allowed you to open your window and, experience the world for, the colors, the light of everything. And then I think this is the big thing that this whole line or the song kind of builds up to, is this I guess added lyric later down here. So after the as if to change myself and even the world, sonzai wa boku no me no mae ni, which is the presence is right here in front of me. The twist here is that as it's started with As if to change myself and even the world, the moment is always right here. The change here is, instead of the moment, it's the presence is right here in front of me. In this case, it's describing like not just a moment, but a being, a sort of being that kind of represents that you can change. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be human. It can be like the presence being just a feeling. Then we get the line again of looking above to the big blue sky that's turning clear blue. I decided to open the closed window. And then as if to change myself into the world, I can feel that moment here now. Shunkan wa itsumo sugu soba ni. The moment is always right there. In this case, now it is, I can feel that moment here, right here and now. And once it's there, the answer is to reach out, reaching my hands out towards the light. And then the end result is the color of the sky, the fragrant wind blowing through my heart. That's my line by line breakdown of this so far. In terms of my actual, I guess, thoughts and like meaning to it, in relation to the anime, that's this whole opening is from Code Geass. I'll be intentionally vague, but basically, the whole song is describing the relationship that each sort of character has with Lelouch. Usually, most of it, or like the primary thing is Lelouch and C2, because throughout the start of, or like literally episode 1 of the show, it is the emphasis on Lelouch is the fact that it feels like nothing is really happening in his life. And while he is accumulating some power, and he actually did have a plan to do the rebellion at some point in his life, the main thing was at the current time that we meet him in the story, he is like this unchanged, he feels like kind of dull. And just kind of stuck. But that all changes once that C2 is presented, and she is like that gateway through immense power, which yes is like the literal metaphor of like the Geass, but at the same time, someone that he's able to open up with, because later down the story, she is kind of the only person that knows that he is Zero, right? With some other characters. And I think the number one other thing is Suzaku, which is the whole foil to Lelouch. Basically, at a later point in the story, Lelouch commands and uses the Geass on Suzaku to live, to stay alive. And so quite literally, he does give a word, a command to Suzaku, and that changes his whole world, even though it is not for the better, at least at that current point in time. Now, in terms of my actual personal meaning, I have subscribed to the song songs I looped in my life when I was feeling down. I think that's a common thing, but for this song specifically, it is one of the very few that has like resonated with me, especially since I listened to like a bunch of English covers of it. The main reason why this song has stuck with me, besides the fact that the song's a banger, is the fact that it is quite literally describing me, for real, which is similar to, I hate to break it to you all, but maybe I am Lelouch, or maybe everyone is Lelouch. The main thing is I really do relate to this feeling like change, being able to actually influence myself or even the world. Is like, it's always just right there, but it's just out of reach. It's always out of reach, and it feels like it needs some sort of moment to occur. You always have a decision. You always have a decision to make your own choice. But what does help is, having someone else giving you some command, well, maybe not a literal command, but just a word of assurance, perhaps. I think a very key factor which makes this song like so nuanced, I guess, is that ending line. If we go back to the ending line here, the color of the sky, the fragrant wind blowing through my heart. Why use wind? We were already establishing colors and light and all this, but then we progress into being, presence, like feeling. Basically, what I'm saying is the wind part is, to me, is describing the subtlety of how change exists, and it's all coursing through your own heart, through all my own decision making is how I like define the meaning for from this song, or derive rather the meaning from this song. It really did. The song really did kind of kept me going during my times in university, where I was having, let's just say, failing a specific class a little too many times, and just having like a real like kind of rut in my life of just like feeling like everything was a little bit hopeless. This song kind of reminded me that that there's always like feeling, a nice uplifting feeling that something will change, and we just kind of have to be open to it. Is, I guess, the the meaning that subconsciously I kind of got back then. I think this might be the reason why Colors is such a big hit. Not only because, you know, instrumentals super good and the transitions and the melody is super good. It's that there is that underlying like message that describes both the show and a true sense of what it feels like to feel like change can happen, and it's just right there out of your reach, and it can happen by simply just, you know, having being reassured in some form or way. I wonder if there's any other deeper meanings, or maybe there's some other deeper meanings that you guys have. I don't know. I'd be curious to see, not just because it's a poor way to get some engagement, but really like I'm interested to see if there's any like other deeper meaning that I might have missed, or perhaps, you know, similar to me, you might have a deep experience with the song. I guess what I'll conclude this with is the fact that what is the title trying to describe? Colors is just describing how beautiful of like the experience of like life is if you can just open yourself to it. I guess that's the true